Hello, welcome to AOK Games. Today is October 28th, 2025, and that is the first release date for the public consumption of the Just Flight's BlackSquare. Well, BlackSquare created, Just Flight hosted Bonanza Professional. This aircraft is available as the aforementioned Just Flight website at the time being for $44.99 US. Now, there is a Baron version of this plane, which is obviously the twin-nacelled, double-engined, twin-propellered, left-hand, right-hand side, of course, variant of the A36 here. I'll get into which variant this is in just a second. But that one is also available for the same price at the time of this upload, as well as the package for $64.99 for both. These are, in fact, very study level, of course, as you will see. This is my AOK review of the aircraft, and I'd like to babble, as they say, have the gift of gab. So I'd like to talk as we're walking around this. You have the price point. Now, in getting back to the modeling here, BlackSquare is, in fact, a highly capable content creator for sure. I think it must be said. Let your eyes see. Let them see what they see. They are not lying. These aircraft here are 100% fidelity-wise, exactly exactly as they are hopefully coming across. I try to upload these videos at 4K so that you all can see out there hopefully as best a quality as possible. I mean, from the leading edge surfaces with, the defects in the paint, possible chipping, and bugs slash wear and tear. I mean, it's all here, right? Like very crisp rivet lines here. The Phillips screw heads here, very crisp. Down the side of the fuselage here, really nice lines, really sharp lines. I like how all the material sort of blends together, if you will. I mean, you have the dimpling right there, just underneath the rivet heads, right in front of the forward pilot side windshield there. Right, so what's nice about this plane is this variant, along with the non-turbocharged A36, comes with the $44.99 package. That is again, non-turbocharged, and then this variant, which is the turbo normalized A36, wing tanks included, as well as the turboprop version. I'm flying right now the turbocharged because I wanted to just experience the beans, man. I wanted the most of what the A36, platform has to offer in terms of performance, right? So it is pressurized. Maybe it might not be pressurized. Comment below. I'm not sure. Possibly take that back. Please don't hold it against me. However, the turbine variant of this is definitely pressurized for sure. Lots and lots of horsepower. I believe north of, what is it, 500. There's 6 distinct interiors and 9 different paint schemes across the board for this, and a lot of cool avionics features to boot. I'll show you those with the EFB on the inside. I hope that I'm giving you plenty of time to view the details, right? I mean, the lighting here, it's all top notch. The material here, the way that these strobes are modeled, really sharp lines, no jagged edges in the paint that I can tell, or anything like that that make any bit of difference when you're flying these things at, cruise speed or altitude. They are all good. Everything in the BlackSquare universe is always top notch, and that's just the way these have been from the TBM 850. Whether you're flying in 2020 or you're flying in 2024, everything, the Duke, the TBM 850, whether it be propeller driven with the piston or the turbine variant, they are all exceptionally well detailed. I had gone in and actually lowered the flaps here so that you could see the detail in how the flap tracks are even modeled, right? So animations for that, really nice. The door hinges, right? I mean, down to super small details, right? I mean, the the shadow of my character in 2024 is worse than the actual detail of the plane itself. So the plane seems to outshine the actual simulator, which I don't know if that makes any sense, but I mean, just take a gander at what we're looking at here. The materials, you can obviously already tell there's a whole bunch of things to click and play with. So let's go inside and look at some more detail. Essentially, there are a lot of clickables in here, which are really, really nice to see. Tables, things like that, just in case if you fancy the passenger view for a little while on a cross-country flight. I mean, that is a view. That is a spectacular view right there, right? So these are the kind of things that freshen up and keep the experience going when you're in the mood, possibly for getting out of piloting command position and maybe just relaxing, stuff like that. Of course, clickables, excellent animations, uh, chalks back there. They can be placed and removed as well, as you'll see. I'll show you the EFB variant of all of those clickables, right? Just things that might not ever make a difference to you, but the fact that these type of things are modeled really shows the level of concern and detail into making these aircraft what they are from BlackSquare. Really nice to see animations. And so what I want to bring up is the really, really neat trick EFB here. What's cool about this one is obviously very, very modern. You can move it around however you want, or you can have all of these options. If you want to see them and read them in slow detail, please feel free to pause. I'm trying to keep this at a minimum length video, but there's a lot of details here, right? So I just want you to be able to see all of these options. Now, you can change the specific setups of your avionics, as I mentioned. So we'll go from, like, I guess, quote unquote, top tier, right? 21st century 750 and 650 to you can go all the way down to your most basic, and it'll change those in pretty much, a jiffy. So if you're into the, dials and the turnings and the pushings of the buttons and stuff for engagement and the old weather type radar, all that, I mean, it's all here, right? So you obviously see that hopefully, of course, at this point, you've noticed the PMS 50, GTN 750, and the TDS NXI. Right, they're both very capable. I prefer the PMS because for me, I like being able to update the Navigraph data with the subscription, so you always have the most modern routes and airways and things like that. But it's just my choice. There's all of these. Any combination of the left and right columns is what you can, in fact, add to your flying palette, right? So doors, right? You can click them, open and close, right? You can refill the oxygen. Lots of baggage space here, lots of fuel. So we'll leave it at 8 and 20 gallons per side, respectively. And it gives you a CG, right? Center of gravity, baggages, and then all the clickables, right? Like the wheel chalks that I had mentioned that were in the back, you can click by hand in 2024. So I don't know if this is available. Obviously, no walk around in 2020, but things that you could use in your situational needs, like external power, engine heater, if you're flying in the cold, so on and so forth, right? Clicking over to the engine tab, you can see the cylinders. All of this functions in real time, as I'm sure you're probably already aware if you've seen any A2A products or any other BlackSquare products. This is very, very nice feature, especially when starting these engines. These engines are 100% not a guaranteed start. If you flood the engines, if you clog the spark plugs, if your engine is damaged, you are not guaranteed an easy start. So I really like that, but it can also be the bane of your existence. The thing with that is I will use this EFB tablet to start these engines, hopefully in a relatively decently easy manner. So you can see electrical page, right? All of the things that light up. For example, it gives you an actual route of how if you turn on the battery, right? Like how all of this is functioning, what works. It's kind of like a real-time flow chart, if you will. Cabin temperatures, pressures, since we are in the pressurized version of this Bonanza, right? It's really neat to have that. And failures. Of course, at this level of study, you are going to have failures. Global failure rate or fail nows. Anything you want in any combination, time wearable items, so on and so forth. It is all here for you to muck about with. There is a ton of things in here that you can fail or that can fail on their own. Very, very nice to see. That this is not one of those aircraft that you can. I haven't tried it, but this is one of those that you start from cold and dark and you fly to make sure everything's set up correctly. This isn't line up on the runway and go full blast, like, off into the clouds. And I like that. That's just my opinion, but this aircraft is fully capable of giving you the experience of full on fun or full on headache. And I say that with the idea that when these engines don't perform properly, you get that instant headache feeling because now what? So these diagnostic tools in the EFB definitely help with that. So these are also these audio sounds that we're going to hear are also Boris Audio Works, which is, I mean, they are the de facto, in my opinion, best in the industry on Flight Simulator as well as in X-Plane or anywhere else you can get Boris Audio sound packs. They are amazing, as we will see here. So let's go ahead and turn the battery on and get this thing ready to start. I'll sit myself upright in the seat and we will begin the show. Stick around. I think you'll like it. Okay, just like that. Made sure the control locks were removed, as they obviously can be on and off. I like to remove these yokes, as that's a nice little feature there. A couple steps I want to do. Let's move this armrest out of the way there in the center. Let's open up our cowl flaps. Let's come over here, and we'll put the fuel selector to the right-hand side there. So we'll burn off a little bit of weight on the right side before we burn off the side that we are on to keep the balance essentially the way it should be, right? Heavier on the right while we occupy the left should keep us nice and balanced. So there is battery drain on this aircraft. Where are we at here? Okay, battery condition. So you can see now, these cylinders are dry. What I'd like to do before we get into anything crazy is I've gone ahead and I'm using my Airbus TCA flight controls for this, and there's a reason for it. So I have one of my levers obviously connected to throttle, one of my levers connected to propeller pitch, and then one of them connected to the engine mixture. So if you don't have this, I could see it might be a little bit more difficult, but you'll just have to keep, like, say, your throttle cracked a little bit while you start before you start it up, and I'll show you why. So what I want to do is prime this engine. In fact, I'll over prime it. So we'll throw on the auxiliary fuel pump. I'll put my throttle way open, and then I'll put the mixture. Now you can see the fuel flowing into the cylinders. The blue is fuel, right? So you can see it is just dumping raw fuel. Now I'll pull my mixture back and I'll turn my fuel pumps off. So what we have here is a flooded condition, right? If you were to start this right now, this aircraft absolutely would not start. In fact, in the real world, if you fill it with too much, just like sometimes the bottom cylinders on radial engines like B-17s, things like that, old Warbirds, if you have a radial engine and you don't rotate them over by dry rotating them without fuel and spark, you could have an accumulated puddle in your bottom cylinders, which will actually hydraulic lock the engine and could potentially break internal engine parts. So I don't know if that can happen here, but for argument's sake, the plane will not start like this. So if we go ahead and we clear those out, you can see all the fuel has been removed and there is nothing in the cylinders, aka a quote-unquote flooded engine with fuel. So what I like to do is, naturally, we're going to put the propeller pitch forward. I'm going to turn on the battery again, and I will crack my throttle just a little bit. Let me move this out of the way. and I will show you how I get this started. Of course, I'm sure it won't work now that I'm saying this. Crack the fuel a little bit, and then essentially I'll bring that mixture in until the fuel flow in the center here comes up just a little bit, right? Right there. That's enough to start the engine. So you can see now there's just a little bit of fuel in the cylinders. There's barely a green line there. You do not want to get this engine too rich, or again, it will not start. So we'll put the fuel pump on low, and then essentially I'm going to push into the throttle as I'm rotating the engine around. And this is exactly why I have these controls put on the yoke, well, the throttle on the TCA, because it allows me to change the values in real time. So let's go ahead and start this, because I use my mouse to keep it held on start while I manipulate the throttle. And then I'll pull the mixture down just a little bit, and then I'll pull it up. And see, just like that, it can start and not stay caught. So we'll go ahead and we'll remove some mixture, like about all of it, and then I'll crank over, but I'll also use the mixture this time. So just like that, we are up and running. But that is why I tell you this is an active event. Starting these engines on this plane, or, you know, I say these engines in plural, because anything on this level is absolutely not a guaranteed start. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and we will essentially turn the auxiliary pump off. We will bring our flaps up to, let's see here, takeoff position. We're going to leave the oxygen off for now because we're not going to be going that high. Hopefully didn't need it. Naturally, we'll put our taxi lights on, panels, and our floods, just so that everybody knows we are getting ready to move. Probably should have yelled clear prop. Now I will throw on the alternator, standby alternator, and the avionics. We'll leave the pitot heat off for now. Navs and beacons. Okay, cow flaps are open for cooling. Let's just take a look real quick at these pages here. So now that the engine's running, you can actually monitor it in real time. You can see all of the flow with the air path, the fuel, how fast the pistons are moving, and all of that jazzy stuff, right? We've got all of the green lit up for the path that electricity is flowing on, and the cabin airflow, right? 58 degrees in here, so a little cool. Yeah, I guess it depends on your taste of temperature, but we'll go ahead and you can see the air's blowing, tail inlet and a blower. Not going to worry too much about this or the pressurization today, but just know this, it is all here for sure. There is plenty of simulation going on here. So we're going to run pretty much, I guess, out of Sillis Bay here today. This is live weather, and we'll stay pretty much low in the altitude, just to I don't know, I want to go around, I want to try it, I want to see basically how she performs. So let me get this all taken care of. We'll get rid of the warning lights and any other things, and then I'll taxi out, and I'll see you all on the taxi out. Just a second. Okay, welcome back. Just cleared the all the things up that I thought were necessary, right? Like you saw the low bus volts, right? But at idle, it's possibly not charging. But when you rev the engine up a little bit, keep it above idle, the notification goes away. So obviously there is 100% simulation of these systems here. Obviously right down to the minute details of the alternator. I'm going to steer a little bit right of that rock outside of that window. Which, why would that even be near a taxiway? But the sounds here are absolutely excellent. No idea if we're taking off with a headwind or tailwind. But I guess that's okay. So Sillet's Bay is where we are today. That's Sierra 4-5, and it is in the Pacific Northwest, south of Oregon. So really, really nice field here. This is, I forget who makes it, but it's a DLC field. So, aftermarket. Okay, we'll put the strobes on this crappy day. And let's go ahead and get on out of here. Now I'm going to try to, my last video I don't think the audio was too well, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm going to try to keep talking to a minimum for the flight phase and takeoff and landing and all that so that you guys can hear the sound effects. So listen for the turbochargers and the audio that this Boris Audio Works combined with this Bonanza provide. Here we go. Right, coming up to about 3,000 feet, just like that, and trying to trim the aircraft out. Of course, we are still at full rich mixture. Let's go outside real quick and listen to the noises out there. Might be a little bit louder though, so. So hopefully you all could hear that turbocharger whine. That is absolutely incredible. I shouldn't say whine, it's whistling quite well. So, along with, you know, the different avionics packages you get and the sound package and the pressurization of this aircraft with the auxiliary tip tanks, you have a fair good range on this aircraft. And I would say this is absolutely in the best way possible. Just the beans. This is, I mean, if you're going from, you know, 2, 3, 4, 500 miles or something like this, you know, nautical mile trip, whatever, it is absolutely more than accommodating in terms of speed and entertainment for, you know, user value for your money. I mean, this is $45, and that turbocharger whistle in itself is worth the $45 in my opinion. I bought this with my money. That's not a sponsored comment. This is literally just me saying this aircraft, just for the sound package alone, is worth the price of entry. So if ever there were a single engine pressurized turbocharged aircraft that you were interested in looking at, if I had to pick one in my entire existence of flight simulator planes, now that this is available and piston driven, of course, this would be my go-to piston for sure. You can see down here on the Hobbs meter, I mean, there is absolutely no time on this airframe, so that's not me flying this and literally telling you a bunch of hocus pocus because I have tons and tons of hours. It just came out. This is literally my first flight in it, and I can tell you it feels like butter. It's like swimming in money. I don't know how else to explain it. The flight model is extremely smooth, and it really feels, I don't know how to say, tactile. Like it's living, like it's breathing. All the clickable spots, all the buttons, everything that make this sound and feel the way that it does is nothing short of, so far in the few minutes that I've flown it, really, really nice. I mean, in plain English. So that being said, let's go ahead and line up again for the southern end of the runway, and we will land in exactly the same direction that we took off. So I'll go ahead and do that in short time. Be right back just in a second. Okay, downwind leg here, about to turn base and then final. I just wanted to check out the landing gear animations with you here. Very nice, very nice. Left the cowl flaps open though, that's okay. Extra cooling, and we weren't really going that high and speeding too fast. So we are in the white arch for our airspeed. Let's go ahead and bring in the approach notch of flaps, and we are blue and indicating on approach for our flap increment here. Swinging way wide of the airport. Kind of just did a flyover there with those short cinematics, but nice scenic approach here. Real-time weather, real-time in the day, in theory, in the Pacific Northwest. So everything's good. Gears down. A little bit of crosswind there. Let's make sure that we are upright in our seated position. Throw the auxiliary fuel pump on just in case. And let's get this trimmed out for relative hands-off ease of flight here. And just off of our nose there, 1 o'clock, of course. So lots of gusties out here. And we'll go full forward on the propeller pitch. And I like flying in these real-world conditions, weather-wise, at least in theory, is according to the game's weather system. I don't know, I just think it adds a bit of hopeful realism to it, instead of just being completely clear. I think it brings the ambiance, right? If you're noticing on the left there, I'll point out the, I don't know what's going on with that texture on that access window. It could be my graphic settings, no idea. But, yeah, a little bit of whatever that is. Small price to pay, I suppose, in my opinion. But, nevertheless, we're on final. Everything seems to be good. And I like this runway as well in this airport because these trees kind of provide a little bit of a chop on the way down. So you get a real hands-on approach here. And chop the throttle. On my best. But you know what they say, any landing you can walk away from. I feel like I've spent so much time, flaps up, I feel like I've spent so much time essentially my brain being programmed for the 2020 landing physics where they didn't have all that time with the wheels actually being in contact with the ground or whatever that new model was that they implemented. So with 2024 being only the new ground physics model, or however that works when the wheels contact the pavement here, I feel like I had to readjust the way that I land these planes. It seems like more of an event now for me personally when you hit the runway. It's a lot more exposing, if you will, as to how bad the pilot in command is. Not saying about myself, but maybe I am. So it's nice because I point that out simply to say when you're in an aircraft simulation of this level, I think every little bit counts. You know, just 1 penny shy US currency of $45 for a single variant of this. You've got, like I said, the turbocharged, normalized, you know, pressurized version of it. You've got the non-turbocharged version without the wing tanks. You've got the different, you know, 9 liveries or whatever, identical across the airframes. It's a lot of bang for your buck. So that being said, for 45 bucks, whether you decide to get the single engine or the dual engine or hopefully both, included with the single engine, obviously the turboprop, it is a heck of a package. They are a heck of a sensation, just for the way they fly, just for the way that it feels in the air, just for the way that it felt when I touched down on the ground. It's very, very similar, I would say, in depth to all of the other BlackSquare products that I've tried. And so that's a positive. That is absolutely a plus in terms of commentary, for sure. So I will also be doing, if you've made it this far to the end of the video, I will be doing the twin engine version of essentially the Bonanza, and I will also be being the Baron, and I will also be doing the turbocharged turboprop version. I'm sorry, the the turboprop version of this. So that being said, let me open this up here. Maybe get the shutdown sounds, huh? Okay, I just want to hop outside real quick. So you hear the gyros spinning down, that's cool. And let's walk around here. I don't know. Hopefully the volume master was okay with this in terms of how it was EQ'd. But on my end, I'm just listening here for a tick. You can definitely hear the exhaust ticking from the heat. So that's really nice to see. Anyhow, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that it was informative enough, and I hope that it helps you make a decision whether you want it or not. I will obviously say, I think it's pretty clear at this point, this aircraft is a 100% recommendation. Everything about it, the textures, the external modeling, the internal modeling, I mean, the simulation, the engine startup, the ground taxi feel, the landing feel, everything about this is what I would dare say we all come to expect and love about the BlackSquare product. And shout out to Just Flight as well for hosting such a brilliant software company that makes such fine products as that we should be able to enjoy in 2025 forward. So thank you very much for watching here at AOK Games, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully you'll be back for the Baron and the turboprop variant of this Bonanza. Catch you later. Bye.